is Elaine, and welcome to the Lifecraft podcast. Lifecraft is passionate about helping you live your everyday life better by sharing inspiration, awareness, and tools to enable you to create a fulfilling life. Do you sometimes feel like there's something blocking you from experiencing more pleasure and intimacy? Research has found that one of the top things keeping us from enjoying more pleasure is our body image. In this episode, sex educator Lisa Welsh is here to talk about body image and intimacy. She shares practices that can help you become more comfortable with your body and so much more. Just a heads up, there is some adult language and topics discussed in this episode, so be sure to grab a pair of headphones now. I'd also appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button and share your biggest takeaway with us in a positive review so that we can keep creating content that inspires you to live a life that you're excited to wake up to. Enjoy the episode. Lisa, welcome back to the Lifecraft podcast. It's always an honor to have you here, and I'm very excited about today's topic, so welcome. It's so good to see you.
It is always a pleasure, Melissa. I love chatting with you. I could do this all day, every day, and your listeners are awesome. So yes, let's get into this.
Thank you. I'd love to have you on every day, every single time I speak with you, whether it's recording a podcast episode or being a guest on one of your features on social media, or just when we talk in general. I learn so much and I get the opportunity to deconstruct so much around intimacy, pleasure, my own body, and this whole experience that people try to label as a sexual experience, but we know it's so much more than that. And you have this great way to just open up my mind to new possibilities and to inviting even more pleasure into our lives. I know we spoke about a lot of things in the previous episode, and I just want to encourage everyone to listen to that one, getting to know you better, understanding the work that you do. But today I'd like to focus in on the effect that body image and our thoughts and beliefs and feelings towards our physical body has on our experience when it comes to experiencing intimacy. I know it can be a big one. I know a lot of people are affected by it, and so many people have this block up when it comes to experiencing the intimacy and the pleasure and the connection and the joy and the fun and the just beautiful, beautiful things that are so human because of how they feel about their body, think about their body, experience their body. So can you dig into that a little bit for us?
I would love to do that. Yes, so you are speaking such truth. Our work is so connected in this way because the relationship that we have with our bodies impacts everything that we do. And the relationship that you have with your body outside of the bedroom is what you're going to bring into the bedroom. The only difference is there, you're actually getting your kit off, you're getting up close and personal with somebody. They are getting to see you in all of these funny angles. They're seeing your jiggle. They're seeing the bits up close that you probably haven't even looked at yourself. And so it's no surprise that this is amplified in the bedroom. And body image has been shown to be, for women, it's like one of the number one insecurities in the bedroom. And for men, it is often their performance, with body image coming in a close second. And for non-binary and also for trans people, then body image is equally a massive factor. So body image in the bedroom is a problem, okay? It is definitely a problem. And the ironic thing is how your body looks has no impact whatsoever on the kind of pleasure that you can experience.
I just want to say that is like a mic drop moment. It feels like we need a moment of silence for that statement. How your body looks has got nothing to do with the amount of pleasure that you can experience, the amount of intimacy you can experience. So, where does the block come in? Is it that age-old thing of mindset, psychology, that type of vibe, because it's not the body itself?
Absolutely. It is. It has everything to do that. How you feel about your body can have an enormous detrimental impact or positive impact. How you feel about your body impacts the pleasure you experience in it. How it looks has no bearing whatsoever. That is the capsule. Okay, if you could just put that in a capsule and everyone just swallow it, then we don't need to talk anymore.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we are human. No, I'm joking. It is a privilege to be human. But what I want to get into, it's so interesting that you say that, because our feelings about our body block us from experiencing intimacy, or they can allow us to experience more pleasure, more intimacy, more connection, more fun, more joy, all of those great things too. And I learned in my own life that focus creates feelings. Where our focus goes is the type of feelings that'll come up in our body. So what are the things that we are focused on about ourselves that are creating these feelings that are blocking us from really just expressing and being our true selves and receiving when it comes to intimacy?
Yeah, well, the thing that we're focusing on is the ideal standard that we hold in our minds of what beauty is. So what does a beautiful body look like in your mind? If you just close your eyes, you can probably conjure up this beautiful body that you imagine, and it would probably have a certain size, weight, height, skin tone, maybe gender, age. Maybe it will have, maybe it will look a certain way. That's going to be quite specific. Your idea of what a beautiful body is, or a sexual person, or a sexy person. What does a sexy person look like in your mind? And so constantly you're going to be comparing yourself with that sexy body. And do you match up? Where is the difference? Like, where do you not match up? That's what you're going to be focusing on. So when you're in bed, instead of focusing on the connection, instead of focusing on the sensations of pleasure, instead of focusing on whether your partner is enjoying themselves and how it feels to be in this moment with them, and, that rising heat, your body won't be rising any heat because it'll be busy thinking, are they looking at my cellulite? Is my belly jiggly in this position? Oh my goodness, what about the wrinkles? What about the scar? What about? And this is just, we become fixated on it. And we are so overly sensitized to like the things that we hate about our bodies, because that is what we zoom in on. And that's true because when you see a photograph of yourself, you immediately check that place. You're getting it on, but all you can do is think about that place or that thing that you're trying to hide. And when you're trying to hide something, it means you're not open in the moment. So these body image issues are like put under a microscope when it comes to being intimate with somebody.
So as an integrative nutrition coach, I see people deal with body image issues because of diet culture, the beauty industry, all of these things. I think mostly the patriarchal idea of what a man and a woman should look like, not being in tune with nature anymore, really being disconnected from our bodies, all of these things. We can pinpoint, I don't think we can pinpoint one thing. It's rampant in our society, but if we look at someone that really doesn't feel great about their body, but they want to have a certain experience with their partner, how can they go about deconstructing the idea that feeling sexy is a must, enjoying how every single part of your body looks is a must before you can have that connection and before you can have that intimacy? Because I know when it comes to food and when it comes to just how you feel about life, I've found that kind of being more neutral about my body, not focusing in on what I like or love or hate or don't like about my body, is better for me sometimes than trying to love an aspect of myself that I just can't love yet. So is there a possibility that you can do that when it comes to pleasure, intimacy, and those things as well, where you can kind of just go neutral when it comes to your body? Or is it more physical and it's needed to make peace with your body before you can experience that?
Well, I think there is a bit of both, and I love that you said that. I can vouch for being somebody who really struggled with my body image in the bedroom, so much that I would avoid sex, I would want the lights off, I would be trying to cover myself up or avoiding positions. And so many of my clients are in that same position where they don't want to be on top, right? Or they want to make sure that they look a certain way. So I can vouch for that, and I can tell you from my personal experience and that of my clients that it is possible to start to experience pleasure in your body before you love your body, because loving your body is a big ask. It really is, as you know. So what you can do is actually practice mindfulness, which sounds so unsexy. When you notice that voice creeping up and you're starting to focus on your butt or your boobs or, or maybe you're worrying that your penis isn't big enough or all of the different things that you might be worrying about, instead, try to bring your attention to the sensations in your body and try to bring your attention to your partner and look at them. They're feeling turned on, right? Are they feeling turned on? How is the connection between you? And instead of being out of the connection and in your head worrying about your body, focus on bringing it to the pleasure in the moment, following the pleasure. Where feels good? Follow your breath, right? Get mindful about what is actually happening. Because there's nothing more sexy than a turned on partner. Your partner is choosing to be there with you. They want to have sex with you because they're there with you, right? You're there together. You want to have sex with each other. You want to have that connection with each other, whatever that looks like, whatever that sexual activity looks like. Knowing that somebody is self-conscious and caught up in their heads and worrying isn't very sexy. Like, it's not very attractive. If you can be with them, regardless, right? Regardless of your scars and wobbles and marks and very human, imperfect body, if you can still show up fully and be there, you don't have to bring confidence to the table or the bed or the chair or wherever you are. Bring your presence to the kitchen counter. But the great thing is, no matter what your body looks like, no matter how it looks right now with whatever its weight is, whatever its skin tone, scars, cellulite, wrinkles, no matter how it looks, you can experience pleasure without changing a single thing. And there are tools that I'm sure that you know of, tools that I know of and that I use myself. And that I was saying to you before we recorded that I'm just realized I'd stopped using some of these tools and I need them again. And I've started using them again this year and I'm really reaping the rewards. And the tools are really to desensitize you to your own naked body. That's one. Sleeping naked, I highly recommend for many reasons. There are actually studies that show you'll have a better night's sleep. Sleeping naked just gives you a chance to be with your body naked. Okay, you sleep better because you're cooler. Your skin will brush against your skin. You'll notice things and you'll be like, oh, okay. Because when you have a mental image of that part of your body that you detest, when you mentally think about it all the time, it becomes this monster, this monstrosity that you won't look at, you won't touch, you won't let anyone else touch. Like, how many of my clients, and maybe you've come across this too, will just recoil in horror if their partner touches their stomach. Like their belly, off limits. Don't touch it. It's so horrific. Don't you dare. We will all be disgusted and shrink in horror. So actually, just get naked and touch your belly sometimes, and you gradually desensitize. And if you can incorporate a mirror, then I 100% recommend that. So standing in front of a mirror naked, if you can do it. You can also do this dress and gradually reduce your clothing over practices. But just look at your body, and initially you're going to go straight to that part that we keep mentioning. Whatever your part is, you're going to stare at it and you're going to hate it. But over time, you can start to just see it there. Okay, yeah, it's there, it's still there. And you can gradually just accept it. Become desensitized to seeing it. It no longer horrifies you in the same way. The first time you see a horror film when you're a kid and it's just devastatingly shocking. As you get older,
Our bodies are meant to be different. Our bodies are meant to change. Their shape is meant to change. And I know that was one of the most freeing things for me to realize on my own journey, that it's okay if it looks different every month, year, 5 years. It's supposed to change. I change. It'll grow. It'll shrink. It'll have new texture. It'll have new bumps. It'll have new scars and marks. And that even if you can't find the beauty in it because you're just not there yet, you can just let it be neutral. You can just honor it for what it is, the vessel that you get to experience this life through. And I think it's so beautiful to just tap into that when you stand in front of a mirror naked and just say, you know what? You might not be perfect. You might not look the way you did when we were 16. You're not even the same body that I had when I was 16 because you're renewed, you're rejuvenated. You've been so many different versions through the years, but I'm okay with you being you. I'm okay with just be there. Thank you for the experience. I'm not even going to try and love you. I'm just going to honor you. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, I hear you. And I guess we can really bring in like the most intense part of body image is our genital image and the feelings that we have about our genitals. And I mean, especially for vulva owners here, I'm going to say we have this whole stigma that they are disgusting, gross, smelly, taste fishy, smell weird, that we need special feminine washes, that they're gross and wet and discharge and periods. And like, there's so much grossness attached to vulvas and vaginas. We usually say vagina. Vagina isn't even the thing. So we don't even have a decent name for it because nobody really says vulva. Our genitals have so much stigma and trauma attached to them and shame because especially as vulva owners, you don't get to see them very easily. They're tucked away. You can go through your whole life without looking at them, and you'd be surprised at how many people do that they haven't ever looked at their own vulva. You don't get to see other people's vulvas. It's not like you're in the public. It's not like a penis. Penises are sticking out and visible. When you pee, if you have a penis, you're going to hold it. You're going to touch it often. But a vulva, you can get away with not really ever touching it, wiping it quickly, putting a tampon in, not even thinking about it until it's on its period, and then it's annoying and dirty, right? You only time you're going to think about your vagina is when there's discharge in your underwear or there's some like bleachiness coming out, which is totally normal as well, but it can kind of bleach your underwear sometimes because it's slightly acidic. But the only time you think about it is when there's a doctor sticking a speculum in, there's blood coming out of it, or there's a penis going into it, or a dildo. Like, those are the times when you think about it. Otherwise, you just try to forget about it. A lot of people are like this. A lot of people experience life this way, with a disconnect from the most powerful part of their bodies. Powerful, beautiful, phenomenal part of their bodies that they don't even have a name for. Typical names that I hear are flower, cookie, coochie, fairy, pretty girly names that are not connected to the reality of having a vagina, right? Because vaginas have all of those things we've just spoken about. So what you can do if you have a negative vulva image, and you'll know if you do, because when it comes to oral sex, you cannot bear having someone's face that close. You think, why does everyone rave about this? I cannot stand my partner's face being this close to my disgusting, smelly vulva, right? Not only that, right? Even if they will allow their partner to touch it, lick it if they have to, get it over and done with, pretend to orgasm, move on to something else. But the idea of touching it themselves is a step too far. And as an unnamed entity between our legs that we don't really know what's going on with, no wonder we're disconnected from it. No wonder we have a negative vulva image. So, and this goes for all genitals. It goes for all genitals, penises, it goes for intersex, it goes for every genital on the spectrum that there is shame around. But I just feel like it's pretty intense with vaginas and vulvas. There's such a lack of knowledge scientifically as well, and we're just not encouraged to claim them. So to heal genital shame is very similar to healing body shame. Is like you don't have to go from this to love. I really encourage my clients to look at their vulva. That's scary. We don't know what they're supposed to look like. And if you've seen one on porn, they're so beautiful and perfect and symmetrical, but in real life, they're not often symmetrical. Lips can be mismatched and different colors. And yet we see people rushing off to the hospital to have their inner labia snipped off because they're not perfectly symmetrical. But the thing is, the inner labia are erectile tissue. They are erectile tissue. They are delicious, sensitive, incredible parts of our genitals, like a gift. You're just going to get it snipped off.
Just stop doing that, please. You can't snip off your pleasure, but it's such a big thing because as you're saying that, your entire explanation has not only been thoughts that have rushed through my head, things that I've had to deconstruct in regards to my own genitals and really seeing them for what they are, these powerhouses of pleasure and creation. And man, that is just, it's, when you get to change that relationship with your genitals, it's amazing. And acknowledging the fact that just like the trees outside, you don't look at the trees and say, oh, you shouldn't be so askew and that one branch should not be going that way. We look at the entirety of trees and love the diversity and the variety, but we don't do that with human beings. And I think it's such a shame. But how can we start deconstructing that so that we can, okay, so we look at them. That's pretty scary. I know I've done that. I think it's amazing. It's empowering. Then you're like, oh, what was the big deal about? Or, oh, Lord, I've got some work to do. Whichever side of the spectrum you're on, that's okay. What are other things that we can do to really start healing that shame or just start deconstructing our thoughts in regards to our genitals? And will that make a difference in the bedroom? So you heal you because it's not actually about the partner, or is that the whole crux of the thing?
It is. You, by reconnecting and building a relationship with your genitals, you can transform your experience in the bedroom. There's no question. Because while you feel a kind of disgust about your genitals, you will not be able to access the depths of pleasure. Imagine walking around hating your elbow, hating, like all day long, and then expect it to deliver an orgasm. Like, it just isn't going to. So yes, building a relationship with your genitals is powerful. And in fact, looking at them is advanced. So let's just take a step back. What you can start with is a vulva hug. Okay, this can be done over your clothes. It can be done in the bath. It can be done when you first wake up in the morning or when you're going to sleep. And essentially, I have a little crocheted vulva here, but I know for the people listening, they can't see it. But you basically put one hand all the way over your vulva. This is not designed to be sexual. It's grounding and loving. You're going to put one hand over and the other hand on the top. And it's just providing like a secure hold, just presence, attention. You're just paying attention to that part of your body, maybe for the first time ever, that you are actually not just giving it to somebody, that you're actually just noticing. You can do this on any genitals, actually. You could do this over your genitals. So you're just going to place your hands over and just take a deep breath and tune in to the energy of that space. So just tune in and just start a dialogue. That sounds weird, maybe. I like to do the Ho'oponopono prayer, you know, where you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, right? You don't have to have any specific meaning. You don't have to have a story connected to what you're saying. Like, what I mean is, you don't have to know why you're sorry. You don't have to say, I'm sorry for this, unless there is a specific thing that comes up. But as you are holding this area in a vulva hug, or genital hug, you're just thinking those thoughts of, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And you're just like connecting with it and give it a chance to respond in some way. Like, this sounds weird because you are talking to a part of your body, but by inviting this dialogue, what you're actually doing is opening up that subconscious programming around your genitals. And it might say nothing. There might be complete numbness. It might be like, no, man, you've ignored me for years. You really expect I'm going to come to the party today? But that's okay. Maybe it doesn't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. You've been ignoring me. Fine. Well, then try again. And what you're doing is just creating a sense of safety and letting that part of your body know that you even notice it and that you have some kind of respect for it, even if you think it's disgusting. It's okay. Because gradually over time, you will build up that there will be some dialogue. There will be a feeling that comes up or a sensation, or you'll learn something, or you'll think next time that you're about to have intercourse, for example, you might not allow penetration before you're ready. right? You might learn about your arousal process. You might discover that actually, let me learn a little bit more about my anatomy. Let me do some pleasure mapping. Let me take this part of my body seriously. And there are so many tools out there that include looking, touching, exploring, looking at other vulvas. There's a great resource, vulvagallery.com, that has a whole cacophony of illustrations of real life vulvas.
Absolutely. So that you can deconstruct the idea that there's just one version of it. There isn't. It's so powerful. And I think if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, this sounds so deep, I don't want to go so deep, I just want to be able to have really great sex with my partner. Some of these things are deep, because rejecting a certain part of your body for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years does have a direct effect on not only your physical body, but your entire unconscious, subconscious mind. You are running a program that is not just going to go away in one day because you love your partner or you find them really attractive or you want to break out of it. It's something you need to not work at. I see it as an adventure and a journey. It's discovering a whole new part of you. And we get so sick and tired of the same old life, the same old work, the same old day that is just like Groundhog Day. And I think that when you go on a healing journey, you get an adventure. You get to experience a whole new side to you. So see it as that and really start deconstructing this. Now, what I want to do is I really don't want people to just stop here. How can people get into contact with you if they're sitting here thinking, yes, Lisa, Lord, I need this. I have been withholding intimacy and pleasure in my life because of X or Y or Z that you mentioned. Where can people get into contact with you? How can they just start connecting with you and learning from you?
The best thing to do is head over to my website, which is inbedwithlisa.com. I have a membership called Better in Bed Academy, which is where I take people on a road to pleasure. And it is all real life, real doable stuff for real people. So some of it is deep, some of it is not so deep, but all of it is designed for this. All of it is designed to help us to take that relationship that we have with pleasure and just elevate it, because it is a pathway for healing. Like I said, you can't go into the bedroom and just leave all of your baggage and your subconscious programming and your mental stories about your body. You can't leave it at the door. Unfortunately, it comes to bed with you. The bedroom is like all of your issues, all of your healing needs amplified. So if you're finding yourself faking orgasms or feeling just like sex is meh, it's just another thing on your to-do list, or you're in a sexless marriage, or if sex isn't blowing your socks off, then why not just come and explore and see if there could be more?
Yes, see it as an adventure. This could be the opportunity for you to experience a whole new life while living the exact same one that you have right now. It's a different dimension of living. It's what I tell my clients is a bigger experience of life. And I want you to have that. And Lisa, thank you for helping people do that. You help people have a bigger experience of themselves. Like we learned today, it fundamentally comes down to us and how we view ourselves and our thoughts and beliefs and feelings about our body, and the exploration and the curiosity and the grace that we have with ourselves and our bodies. And then also being able to just be human with another human and say, hey, this is me, messed up little human, but let's do this. Let's have a great experience. And I love how you can just put that into these amazing terms. And I know women who have been impacted by your work. I have been impacted by your work, and I don't even want to call it work because it feels like service. That's how it feels like to me. You're just helping us in immensely great ways. So I just want to acknowledge you for that. Thank you for your time and your insights. I just absolutely adore you.
Oh, Melissa, you just make me feel so good. I just love when I talk to you. Thank you, darling. It really, and I feel so the same about you. What you're doing is powerful, powerful.
Thank you. And here's to more pleasure in 2022. I'm lifting my little glass of water for that. And Let's just do it. Let us have more pleasure and intimacy in this year, right?
Absolutely, I'm here for that.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode and taking the time to invest in yourself and in your future. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with us by leaving a positive review or tagging us in a post or in your stories. Share one thing that stood out or inspired you to live your everyday life better. This helps us create more meaningful episodes for you to enjoy. If you're not already following us on social media, be sure to follow @TheLifeCraft for more inspiration and tools to help you live your most powerful life. And remember, you always have the power to craft a better life for yourself, and we are here to help you do just that. We'll connect again in the next episode, and until then, keep creating a life that you're excited to wake up to. We enjoy bringing you interviews from experts and everyday people so that they can talk about their experiences and share information, tips, and what has worked for them on their journey towards a better life. However, remember that the opinions or advice of our guests and myself, the host, should not be taken as personal, actionable advice and is given as general information and education only. Please always remember to consult a qualified professional before implementing any medical, financial, legal, or other advice that you believe might work for you. Lifecraft is not responsible nor liable for your decision when implementing anything you hear on the podcast. Please listen and act responsibly. The opinions of our guests do not represent the opinions or views of Lifecraft or Melissa Lane personally and are meant as information and general education only.